All right, you know what it is. It's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and we're gonna break it down. Today was a pretty good day too, so there should be some better trades than we had on Friday. Better examples. So looking at this pre-market, we got a leg up, two-legged pullback, a move to a new high, a leg down, a little break outside, move to a new low. We're kind of just going sideways. See how we're on both sides of the EMA. So really, I'm going to start off looking at this like a congestion zone. Just get that on there. Probably put my highs up here. So I'm kind of looking at that congestion zone, uh, shorting the tops and just waiting to see what develops from there. Still in the pre-market, about 6 o'clock. Here's a kind of like a higher low. I'm not into it. We're still going really sideways, even on a smaller scale. So just want to be patient a little bit before I jump into something. Now we're getting that breakout lower. Let's see if we get a breakout pullback. See how we're getting this strong breakout? That's a really good sign. But let's see if we get that breakout pullback, and then we're going to start treating it like a trend. There, that's the breakout pullback. So really, you might look at it kind of like that. I think that's fair. It's a fair trend. Yeah, sometimes I like to use the closest swing, but since this one kind of fits nicely, I end up getting 3 touches if I do it from the high. So I like that a little better for now. But let's see what we get for the lows. Let's just kind of, we'll put it off there for now. We don't get many touches off that low, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Moving down. Maybe we'll get a like a second entry short. Still moving down. Starting to get some congestion right there. That is it's a good looking trade. It's just a first entry to those lows. It's kind of 2 legs back. It's the first breakout side. I think you could be aggressive, but I'm going to wait for a second entry. There's the second entry. Um, you're kind of running out of room to these lows, so that's a little bit of an issue. Not going to lie. We got the lows right here. There's a lot of support right there. But in the context of this market, you might consider taking that. I think I would have. Just be a little aggressive on my first trade. And then, of course, you're going to have your scalp target. But for a runner target, this is what kind of makes me like the trade. Is that for that runner, I mean, we could be seeing something way down there. So if we can find a way to hold on to that runner till down there, that's a pretty good risk reward. That one gets the scalp pretty much no problem. And we're still kind of waiting. And we kind of just broke below and then went into another congestion zone. Here's a new short-term trend, just a little breakout bull trend. I wouldn't necessarily trade off of that yet, but it's there just to kind of keep us on the right side of the market. There is the higher low. There's not a lot of room to that high, and you're going to have to trade against this resistance. I'm not really into that one as much. Doesn't break above, so it's all good. Breaks above there, but like I said, I don't really like that trade all that much. I missed a trade, but there was a second entry long, but you were going right into that EMA. But you're a little closer to this low side, so that's a lot better of a trade than this trade. And you're still expecting a test of this high. So that's a I missed it real time, but um, yeah, if you're aggressive, I think you could take that, expecting the test up here. I mean, there is a measure target. I don't know how I feel about going against this downtrend yet, but if you're seeing that, maybe we'll make it up there, 34, 33, something like that. Yeah, perfect. Perfect measured move. Not bad. And then once again, we're going to try and get short off 34, 32. But it looks like it's going to go ahead and just dip without us. Don't yet have a trend. We're still just in this range. Let me make it a little bigger. From what I'm seeing, we have some highs up here. And probably our new lows are going to be more so down here since we had a lot of support. And for now, I'll just take that off because it's going to get messy. And let's throw in a midline, probably like right there. So we'll be playing this range now. That's your lower high. You're looking at this trade thinking, okay, should I go short below this trade or below this bar? I don't like how there was buying at the end of that bar. I would prefer this bar to close really close to the lows. So I'd probably skip the lower high trade here. Another thing is that it's triggering at the midline, but if you have a stop, you're pretty much on the other side of the range. It's um, it's not exactly where I want to be with the trade. I feel like there will be better trades, so I'd probably skip this. I mean, look how the EMA is going right through the middle of these two bars. We're on both sides. It's just a little aggressive. So when this happens, and you get the doji after it triggers, it's not too surprising. But you would have got your scalp, so it's. I guess you should have taken it, but I don't know. I didn't really like the setup. Here's a second entry long off the low side, right off that support. Pretty perfect. Um, it's less about what I would or wouldn't have taken, and it's more about do we see the setups. If we see the setups, we're going to try and mark them and go from there. But I want to move away from what I would or would not have traded, um, because that's not the point. There's the higher low, but for sure this one is heading up on the other side of the midline. So I don't like the context of that higher low. If I'm in down here, let me just try to hold it and see if it makes it to the other side or not. So that made it to the other side. That would have worked, but you're trading the middle of the range. That is not about me. That's about the context of the trade. That's not a great trade. Really big rejection off the resistance. Here's um, a lower high. It's really going back to back right here. So going short right there is aggressive. That's for sure aggressive. But in the context of the market, you would probably still take that. Um, but that's getting aggressive because it's back to back to back. So let's skip that and let's see if we get a failed second entry. So if we break below here, that's the failed second entry. I feel a little bit better. Not by much, to be honest, but just a little bit better about going short below there. Let's see if we get enough. Okay, you would have got your scalp. Um, got your scalp, and now we're breaking past the support. So, uh, if you kind of zoom out a little bit, we still have a target down here, 34.16. There is a downtrend going on. And let's just see if we can make this fit well. Kind of have it, if I'm going off these three touches, or that's not really quite on it. Off these three touches, the line is a little bit up there, so that's not helping us much right now. Let's see if we get anything off the low side. Off the lows, though, we got a couple nice bounces. So I'm okay using this trend. We got three touches on the high side and we got some good bounces off the low side. So I'd probably use this trend as well. See if we can get some shorts off there. And then let's just go ahead and make this a midline. What I'm going to do, let's just extend this a little bit. It's coming in handy. Okay. It's not quite on. Let's just fix that real quick. Okay. So you see how we broke below? Kind of looks like a failed break. Let's see if we get a higher low or something. If a bar closes below here, we're going to give it a trend. So now we're trending. This is one of those examples. If you go from the exact highs, I don't know if that's going to be as clean, just because you don't even touch that breakout. But in this situation, uh, you might use it just because you do get like three touches. So this line is holding really well. But let's bring it down to the low side, see if we're getting a good fit. Then even off the low side, you're getting a good fit. Um, so let's use this. But I was gonna say that in these situations, I like to do it a little closer because these are usually kind of like sharp. The angle is a little bit sharp, but that's gonna get confusing pretty quick. So I kind of have these two trends going on. I want to see which one holds out if we keep going lower. See how we kept going lower right there? That's kind of why I was a little suspect of this first one we drew, because after we get that breakout, it might not respect it, but I feel like it will respect the one that touches the breakout a little better. But you could still play the bigger one. There's definitely a way to still play it, but for the sake of our video, let's probably just use this one for now. Let's see how this one holds. Get a nice signal bar off the line, but it's not a position. Um, all of our trades really happened up here, and then to go short this close to the low of the day, that's going to be a little risky. Even though we have a good target way down there, you could see we're not even near that EMA. It's a first entry to the low. It's like a fifth entry off the highs. Even if it works, it's just not really the setup, and it doesn't work. So I kind of did all that explaining for nothing. Um, this is our first breakout, though, so expectations are that we're probably going to test our lows. And what we'll do is let's take leg one and measure that out. What would be awesome is if those lines end up in the same spot. Wow, see how close those lines? Not, yeah, I mean barely 5 points or 2 points. So yeah, see how both of these ideas are kind of getting us to that same spot. So that's more crucial for your runners. But like if I was holding from up here still, I'm looking for it to get down to that 19 area. But we don't have a trade yet, so let's just wait. Maybe we'll get a second entry or a failed second entry or something. Here's the second entry. Oof, how do I feel about this? Um, it's a little sideways, but our expectations are lower. We just got some resistance off the EMA. Even though it didn't quite touch, it's kind of close. Man, I don't know how I feel personally about it, but I do think it's a setup. A second entry short, expecting the test of the lows. Okay, it never breaks below. It breaks below there, but if this was my signal bar, I'm not into that trade anymore. So I wouldn't have entered short there anymore. So we could go ahead and take that one off. And then honestly, what's happening here is that we have this low, there's a higher low. And if we break above, that's a failed second entry long. So I'm kind of have a, I'm not bullish, but we've been on this lower side of this channel for a while. You would expect at some point we're going to come test the other side. So I could see why you'd want to buy that. And that's a setup after a big move down, a breakout. In fact, on the range, let's look at this breakout real quick, see where that gets us. See how that's almost a perfect range expansion? Almost a perfect expansion. So there's probably support right there. And now we're on the low side of a bigger range, and we would expect prices to come test our midline. So I could see why you'd want to buy that. It's a little sideways though, so that's a little sketch. But we go right to that midline and then kind of keep going. And then, here's another great place. If you have a runner still, you're going to trail it behind the EMA and then probably have your target up here. So I'd probably be playing that. And then for the trend, there's a trend right through there, a breakout trend. Man, that goes almost right to the target. That's beautiful. First break of our kind of breakout trend. I'm not going short yet. I want to see this play out. I want to get a reversal pattern, or I want to break and move to a new high. We're in the middle. I'm not making any new decisions in the middle of the chart. There's a lower high, but like I said, I want to see a reversal pattern first before I go short. Would have worked. Darn. It's okay. What I could say is that sometimes on these range days, once we get to that higher side, we don't always get the break and the move to a new high. Sometimes on the ranges, once we get to that higher side and it breaks below, it's on its own new agenda. So I'm still going to wait for that reversal pattern, but there's probably a trend. There's probably a trend. And that's another telltale sign of a range, is that when you have prices that are following the trend, then they break out and then start trending the other way, or they don't do the breakout retest. And then you end up with kind of two trend channels. That usually just means that there's support down here and there's resistance up here where both trends start and end. So nothing too out of the ordinary there. See right there, that was the reversal pattern I was talking about. So now there's for sure a trend. In real time, you would have seen this break below, so you could have entered short right there. The context of the trade isn't as great. You're selling the lower side of this range. So that's not a great idea, maybe a B minus, C plus, but there's a lot of room to the support. So, I mean, you will for sure, if we get to the support, scalp out. So there was room, but the context is a little off. So that's just going to be a personal decision if you want to be aggressive or not, depending on, some of the other factors of the day. So we're breaking out the low side again. Let's see what we'll do here. Let's get a real channel going. Because the thing that's happening right now is that even though we're breaking lower, we haven't necessarily broken this trend from up here. Prices are probably still inside of it. Okay. They're just now breaking out. So expectations are, we'd probably do the same thing. If this thing keeps going down lower, I'm looking for a breakout pullback, and I'm going to make another kind of breakout trend. But I don't want to really sell until that breakout pullback. Expectations are that we're going to come to the side and then maybe come back up. So just waiting on it. Yeah, see, we got a lot. I'm going to let that car pass. We got a lot of buying down there. That's a little aggressive to buy this. I'm sure, Mac describes this as that like you fade the extreme uh, breakout or whatever. A little risky for me. I would wait for the higher low, but if you saw that, you maybe took that or something. But we're still in this channel, right? So we're still in this channel. So we got to see what happens if it respects. See how it's still breaking out. So right there, I would at least give it a line. We had a higher low, and we crossed above the EMA, closed above the EMA after we broke out the low side on this channel. We're expecting it to kind of break out the high side a little bit. So what we might see is a breakout and move to new high before we keep going lower, or maybe we're just going to keep going sideways, or I really don't know. We're just going to wait and find out. See how we're respecting that channel really well. That's good. Here is a failed second entry. Um, you should take this trade. The only thing I see is that the EMA is going right through the middle, but you should take this trade. I don't see why really you shouldn't. We're expecting test of the high side, test of the midline. See, but then when this happens, this is where I want to exit the trade, because if this is truly a trap pattern, a failed second entry trap, prices should close above this bar. If prices came all the way up here and then still found a way to close within the range of the bar, that means not that many people got trapped. So I'd probably want to exit this trade, break even +1, and I'd tighten my stop to maybe 2 ticks below this bar. But my expectations on this trade are now decreasing because it doesn't look like it trapped anyone. And depending on which way it broke out first, you probably got your break even +1, even a break even +2. But if it went lower first, you might have got stopped out. If you're still down here, you're still in the trade, and then now you're stopped out. So I like using that, because whenever I see prices close inside of this bar on failed second entries, I don't really use that rule for other setups, but particularly on the failed second entries, I've noticed that if you see that bar close inside the range of the trick or the signal bar, um, something's off, and you might as well just jump out and see if you get a better setup. Like, here's a better setup. It's a second entry long. We still have this trend, so we're expecting a test of these highs. We're coming off the support, a really good signal bar. I'm sure a lot of people just got trapped. People are gonna jump back in. I like that trade. That one goes to the midline. I don't know. Doesn't get past that midline. So your scalps are fine. Your runners get stopped out, break even +1. And it just shoots back off. So that didn't go very far, but um, that was a little tricky. That was a little tricky to manage. Still really just playing the range, though, to be honest. Even though we're inside of the overall trend, the range is having a lot more sway than the trend right now. So that's what we're using. We're making new lows, heading towards the low of the day. If I get a breakout pullback below 34.24.50, let's give it a trend line like there. It happened fast. I kind of missed it, but there's a failed second entry right there. That's the breakout pullback trade. The issue is that it's a little sideways, but if if you were anticipating the trend like we were just describing, um, I think you can consider this trade maybe a B trade because the context is a little bad. We're selling the lows, but we're definitely outside of the range, and we have a setup and a reason to kind of be expecting these lows. But you had to see it like that to take that trade. So we have a new kind of like short term channel. Just working with that. Doesn't go far yet, and it might not go further. Starting to get sideways again. Here's a second entry short, but we're going way too sideways. I'm starting to get confused even just looking at all those wicks. Looks like some barbed wire or something. So I'll probably skip that. Um, yeah, I'll probably skip that because it's getting a little messy. It never breaks below, so you shouldn't have gotten into the trade anyway. So you would have been fine. And see how we're just kind of, it's the range really right now. We're really playing the range right now. We got that higher low and then a move past the EMA and closes past the EMA. So there's probably a breakout trend right there. That's a if we break above this area, there's a failed second entry long. If we break above there, I don't like how we're on this high side of the range though. So I'm being a little more cautious until we for sure get some support and we can buy off some support. But you can see that we're kind of on the high side of this channel. Look how far away from the EMA we are. It's going to be a little risky to buy. That does look a little better. We got some space to the highs. It's the first breakout side of this trend, but we're still on that high side, and we don't really have support off the EMA. It's a little support off the midline, but it's aggressive. Um, it's really aggressive. So it's up to you. It's really up to the expectations that we will come up to this high side, but I don't know if this is the trade you want to risk it on. So I'd probably skip it, but it's there. It's there if you're being aggressive. Breaks above there. Kind of deal with some sideways action. And then we eventually get there. And here's another, back to what I was saying over here with those traps on the failed second entries. Look at this trade. We were expecting to break above. We got some sideways action. And then when we broke above, see how it closed above the range of these bars? So even when it started going sideways here, you didn't have that same sense to exit because, the price action is showing that there are indeed some shorts that are stuck, and it's just a matter of time. And then that bar proves that those shorts gave up because it just all those shorts exited. Then everyone who was buying off this bar bought. I don't know if I would have bought this bar. It's really big. That bar I wouldn't have bought. It's just so big. But if I was going to enter, it would have been down here. So we can say it's aggressive, but I didn't really like it. You just get, I mean, this is like a rocket, just straight up. Um, get some nice bear signals at the highs. Let's see if we get a lower high. Maybe we can get a short in or something. There's the lower high. I'm going to short that. That's pretty much one of my favorite trades. So I'm okay with that. And then if it breaks below here, you get a failed second entry. it just depends on your sizing. If you skip this trade, I'd probably take this trade. If you went a full clip on this trade, I don't think I want to add more here. But if you went like half size or you have room to add on, I'd probably add on as well there because we're at the highs of the range. That's a failed second entry. Got some room to the EMA. And then maybe we're even going to come down here. So I like that. Kind of go sideways for a little bit. And so like right there, that's a little unfortunate. See how it broke below and then came back up? For that failed second entry trade, definitely my stop is going to be right above there. I'd probably move it from the highs up here and just move it up here. Because if it comes up here, it's probably going to stop both of those out. So at least you save a couple ticks on that add-on trade. But since it closed back inside, that makes me a little nervous. Two dojis inside of this bar, it's going sideways. So my break even, my target would probably be at break even +1 for the failed second entry. I'm still okay with the lower high trade, but for the failed second entry, I'm probably break even +1 if if my chart looks like this. And this time it keeps going, so that's like, damn, that sucks. But it saved you over here, and it kind of burnt you on your add-on here. So it just kind of depends on how you prefer to trade. It's a trend for sure right there. Probably have a runner still from this. That's our first breakout side of the of this trend. Let's take a measured leg. Maybe there's a measured leg right here. This isn't really a trade because we already had a break and move to a new low. Shorting this isn't really a trade or anything. Never breaks below until here, and then I wanted to have sold underneath this green bar. And this bar is way too big, so that idea is kind of already gone. Do we get any new swings? Swing higher? Swing highs? No swing highs. So if we had a swing high, we'd restart our count, but we don't. So we just really, in this situation, I have to wait for like a second entry short, or I want to see a swing higher, and then I can start the count off the tops. First entry keeps going. If you're aggressive, you can find maybe reasons to enter on some of these. You only would have gotten burnt on this one, but I don't really see any technical setups through here yet. And that gets us to 840, so that's a good 2 hours of the day. And there's some good trades today, some really good trades. Like I said, I was a little suspect in here and a little suspect in here, but everywhere else, it was straightforward enough. And then you got some runners, and you maybe got a runner over here, you got a runner over there. So there's some okay trades today for sure. But that's what I saw in the first 2 hours of the day. I'll zoom out so we can see the full day. But that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much what we had. So good trading day. Good trading day. All right, I'm out. Your boy Kamal Hart. I'm going to catch y'all on Friday. See y'all.